Hi everyone, it is Brian here at Bryden Farm in Bear River, Nova Scotia. And you can check out our homesteading farm website at Bryden Farm, BRIDEN farm.com. We raise goats, pigs, chickens, ducks, rabbits, Muscovy ducks, rabbits, dogs, cats, and ourselves by the bootstraps. So you may be wondering, why is growing your family tree part of Bryden Farm, or Bryden Farm part of growing your family tree? Well, let me tell you. I have had a passion for both since I was a kid. And on my downtime here at the farm, I enjoy doing family history. And over the years, I've been able to help reunite one gal with her dad, help another find her birth record, and hi Woody, and have helped not only people find and connect with their birth families, but also have spent the last 30 plus years doing family history and genealogy. And I am going to take a pause just for a moment, and I will be right back. Because, to be real honest, I'm also doing this over at the same time on app. And yeah, my passion over the last 30 plus years is doing family history and genealogy, helping people to get started, find maybe missing family members. Not to quote a TV show, but long lost family members. We all tend to have them in one form or another. Love that show, by the way. And I just want to help, and doing these talks allows me to do that. And Woody, I am going to try not to scare you away. I am going to invite Woody over here at Fireside to come and join me if you want. Actually, I suppose I should have done the invite to speak first, if you want. I don't know if I have to do both or if I can do either or. I know not everybody wants to come up, and not everybody wants to necessarily have the video on. So this is, by the way, is only about the third one of these I've done, so I'm still kind of getting used to the Fireside there. I'll do that for you, Woody, and if you do want to come up and speak, I'd love to help you find your family or ancestor, or get started doing your own family tree. And if not, that's okay. But if you do, you're more than welcome. And if you come up and like the video, then we can do that as well. I just find sometimes people like the speaking a little more than the. And how come my video is off? Interesting, isn't it? All right, we are learning here, folks. We'll all learn together. How's that? Turn on video. There we go. Somehow I had turned it off. All right, so broadcasting on both. So if you're on Fireside or if you're on Wisdom, feel free to hit the join the conversation button or come up to speak or raise your hand or what have you. So how can I research my family? How can I start doing my ancestry? And it's funny, I'm on my home Wi-Fi and it's telling me that I have poor network quality on Fireside. Hopefully you can hear me all right. And so one of the things that I use a lot and have used for years is called Legacy Family Tree. I'm actually just typing it in. Legacy Family Tree. And that is a database that will allow you to store your information, and it's a free database, which is always a good thing, especially if you're just starting out, or if you've been doing it for a while. I think I used the Legacy Family Tree database, for a good 10 years when I was getting started, and just the standard or free version. And the upgrades back then was only $20, and I think now it's only about $35. But yeah, legacyfamilytree.com. If you're going to do family history or genealogy and you want a good database for keeping your records in, my suggestion is to go to that website and download that free database. If eventually you want to do the upgrade, that's an option too. Like I say, I think it's only about $35. And interesting enough, they don't come out every year with a new upgrade, or like some things try to charge monthly. It's $35 one time, and that's for their upgrade. And like I said, for the first 10 years, I probably just used the free standard version. Now, the other place that I would encourage you to go, is actually familysearch.org. And the reason I invite you to go there, and just so that you know, that is a service provided by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, I am not a Mormon. I do not belong to the Church of Latter-day Saints, but I do certainly use their website. It's a wonderful resource. I'm going to say this, and please no one take it the wrong way. Be cautious as you do, and not because of who it's provided by, but be cautious of any website, Family Search and others, and actually I'm sure they would tell you the same thing, that has trees on it, that has information on it, that will give you links, hints, or otherwise to other people's works. And the reason you want to be cautious is the users often submit their genealogy, their ancestry. And sometimes when they see those hints, they copy that information without taking time to source it, without looking to see if there's a birth record or a death record or a marriage record or a census record or other information that's available. And what happens is people get that information copied and copied and copied and never take time to put the source on it. So the thing is, on Family Search, they have those, the same as on Ancestry, same as on MyHeritage, trees with hints, or leaves, or whatever they call them on their site, where you can fall into that kind of trap. Now, on familysearch.org, and that's a free website, as well. What I encourage you to do is go to the search function. That clicking on that will bring a drop-down menu, and click on records, because what that's going to do is that's going to open you up to a search database on Family Search that is going to allow you to enter information and access. So I'm just going to do, let's see, George Howard Burrell, one of the people from my tree. And year born, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm going to say 1855. And he was the first of his family members, first of his siblings, to be born in Nova Scotia, Canada, having come over either at the end of, I believe, the end of the Irish potato famine. And it was funny because the George Howard Burrell, I was looking for who he married a number of years ago, and on Family Search, in someone's tree with information that they had submitted, they had that he had married Adelbert Perry. Now, the truth is, he married Adelaide Perry, but they had him somehow hooked up to Adelbert. And I'm pretty sure that in the 1800s, there were no men that married men. And if they did, I'm pretty guaranteed that they didn't have children. So if George Howard Burrell had married Adelbert Perry, I wouldn't have been here. And however, when I went to research it, I realized that, yeah, somebody had made a mistake. And it did lead me to finding Addie Gertrude Perry, who was indeed his wife. Now, when I did that search on familysearch.org, clicked on search, clicked on records, and put in his name, what come up is, and actually I haven't done this in a long while, so I really didn't know if anything would come up. Suspected that something would. It shows a list of results. The first of those, and I'm really glad that it did, the first of those is for another free website, which is findagrave.com. And on findagrave.com, they have, or claim to be, the world's largest online cemetery. And what it is they have pictures of a number of headstones. And those headstones often have memorials and obituaries and other things with them that provide additional information. I'm trying to actually click on. They keep changing things, as most websites do. They not Find a Grave, but Family Search. I'm trying to get the actual link, but you know what? I'll just open up Find a Grave, and I'm pretty sure it's Find a Grave. No, that's Family Search. Oh, let's see. I'm gonna go. Sorry, folks. Just bear with me. Findagrave.com. That's what I thought. I didn't want to send you to like.ca or .org or whatever and send you on a wild goose chase. So yeah, findagrave.com. And if you go there, you're going to see that they have over 226 million memorials. That's just mind-boggling that they actually have that many. And so you may just find who you're looking for there. Now, the interesting thing is, in order to get back to public records, census records, birth, marriage, death records, kind of as a rule, you're looking for someone who was born at least 100 years ago, was married at least 75 years ago, or who died about 50 years ago. Now, there are ways to combat that if you don't have that information. I always encourage everyone to start. Hi, Christine. I always invite my guests to come and speak if you want to. Don't feel that you have to, but you're more than welcome to join, especially if you have comments or you'd like to add something or have questions, if I can help you at all. I had just gone through saying that what we need to do is talk to the people who are closest to us, our parents, grandparents. If you don't have your access to your parents or grandparents, talk to, if you can, the elders, the seniors in their community or in the community where they grew up. You may just find that there's information there that those people can share. And since most of them that you'll be talking to will be seniors, many seniors appreciate a visit and a conversation. So they tend to be open to that. Obviously, be respectful, be courteous, and try to ask gentle questions. And that way it will encourage them. And you know what? Feel free to go back if they're open to it. Because sometimes after you've been there for your first visit, they remember something. Or call them in a couple of days, an actual phone call, and thank them for that first visit. They may invite you to come back, or you'll get to kind of feel the temperature of the room, so to speak. Our seniors are a valuable resource that unfortunately get left out of most conversations today. So, yeah, make use of your family members, extended family members, community members. Now, what you're looking for, as I say, if you can get it, is a death record that is 50 years old, marriage record of 75, or a birth record of 100 years ago. Now, one of the exceptions to that is find a grave. Findagrave.com. If somebody has passed away within the last 50 years, you may be able to find their burial record on there. The other thing that you can do, now I don't think this is going to bring up anything, but if you simply do like a Google search, and I always use the short form of the word obituary, but obit, O-B-I-T, and I'm going to do the same thing, George Howard Burrell and Gertrude Perry. Now, it's been too long for them, unless they happen to be listed somewhere as grandparents. Oh, no, that's interesting. There's one here in the Island Register. The last name is actually Cameron, but it's an Alice Gertrude, and in brackets, Nee Perry. If you ever see that Nee, no K, just N-E-E, that is indicating that is her maiden name, her last name before she got married. And that's interesting because I do see another name, probably for another person, but the same name. But I do see a name that I do recognize. So I'm going to Control F on the keyboard brings up a little search box, and the name that I recognized was Goldie, because there was a Goldie Burl. And actually, this one isn't. This is a Goldie Easter. But, even little tips like that, like Control F, not everybody knows that, but if you're on your keyboard, if you have a laptop or a computer, and Control F, that will bring up a little search box that will allow you to search the page that you're looking at, which sometimes saves a lot of time. So going back over to findagrave.com, I'm just going to type in, I didn't grab the years for George Howard Burl from Family Search, but okay, there we are. George Howard Burl was born the 27th of February, 1861, and he died the 26th of April, 1939, and he is buried in, working on an old computer here too, can pose its own challenges. And so George Howard Burl, 1861, 1939, buried in Yarmouth Mountain Cemetery. Now, I may come to this memorial sometime and see if I can add a few notes to it. It does say George is the son of Samuel Burl and Anne McGee. He married Adelaide Gertrude Perry on the 18th of December, 1887 in Yarmouth. His parents were Samuel Burl and Anne Burl, so for George Howard Burl, there is no stone showing on Find a Grave. However, it does show a stone for his parents, Samuel Burl and I say McGee, it may be McGee. It's McGee. And you know what? That's how, as census records were done, that is how people made so many mistakes, errors, and changes in family names. Because I pronounce it, I look at it, and I say McGee, and somebody might spell that MAC, where it's MCGEE. And so it's things like that to look out for. And just because there's a spelling variation in the name, Burl's a perfect example. My great-grandfather spelled it Burrill. And his grandfather that I'm looking at, Samuel Burl and Anne McGee or McGee, spelled it Burrell. And that's how I spelled it most of my life until I discovered that my great-grandfather spelled it with an I. So little things like that to look out for. Sometimes people will see a spelling variation of their surname or their last name, and they'll wonder, oh, well, that's not our family because it's spelled a little bit different. And sometimes it's more corruption than just E or I. But a lot of times when census takers and others were working with the family, especially in the early days, there were mistakes made because the family couldn't spell, and the census takers or record keepers often spelled things the way they heard them. And that led to some interesting spellings and name variations over the years. So again, if you are on the Wisdom app and hearing this conversation, or if you're on Fireside and hearing the conversation and you have questions and you would like to join the conversation, please click the button, let me know. and I'd be glad to help you try to find family or get started doing your own family history, or maybe find that next generation. Sometimes that can be very frustrating. But these are a few of the tools that I use on a regular basis. LegacyFamilyTree.com, FamilySearch.org, FindAgrave.com, and good old Google. When I put in a name to do a search to try to find an obituary, I put in just the OBIT, and I try to put in, if I have it, the parents' names. So, like George Burrell and Gertrude Perry. Because if there's any other children who I'm looking for an obituary for, that helps bring that up. Now, the other thing is, it also does the same in reverse. It will help. So if you're looking for John Smith, let's see, if you're looking for, if you're looking for John Smith's obituary and his son John Smith happens to be married to, I don't know, Gertrude Zwicker, when you put that in, put in obit John Smith, be sure to put in and Gertrude Zwicker, because that will help the search engines, that'll help Google or wherever you're searching to narrow it down more, to be more likely to the names that you're looking for, especially if it's something like John Smith. The other thing is, if you have an approximate, like either a state or a province that you think that person passed away in, include that in the search. So like obit George Howard Burrell or George Burrell and Gertrude Perry, Nova Scotia, would again help the search engine to narrow it down and get closer to where you want to get. Now, the other thing is, and for any of us who've been doing ancestry for a number of years, every time a new census comes out, it is kind of an exciting thing. And when a new census comes out, we'd like to go look at those or search those for the next generation that we're looking for, or other family members, or perhaps new information. And up until, I think it's just become available in the last year, in the US, the 1950 census is now publicly available. In the US, and they go earlier and later, but there's 1900, 1910, 20, 30, 40, 50 is now available. In Canada, as well as in England, it's, instead of being on the 10s, so like 1910, 20, 30, it is done on the 1s or the 11s, so 1901, 1911, 21, 31, and so on. Our Canadian 1931 census record should be becoming available, I think, this year, hopefully, if not next year. It takes 100 years, basically, in Canada to release those. Now, in the US, they get released quicker, made public quicker. So 1950, we're talking, 70 years? And so if you're looking for information for someone in the US, it's entirely possible that if they're over 70 years old, you can find them in the 1950 census. The thing about that is, you may also most likely find them living with their parents. And so that can take you back to the next generation. Yeah, 73 years. It takes 2 or 3 years for them to usually become available. So the U.S. makes their census records available after 70 years, whereas Canada is 90 years. And birth records, at least here in Nova Scotia, we can't access for 100 years. And so those are a few ways of finding information that may not be available through Vital Stats, but may be available through Find a Grave, through the 1950 U.S. Census, soon to be 1931 Canadian Census being made public, or just simply a Google search. So I'll put the call out there again. Is there anybody on Wisdom or on Fireside that might have a question, would like to join the conversation? You're more than welcome to do that. Sorry, I was being distracted by a little pop-up. I see my friend Julia's on the Wisdom app. I actually like both apps now that I'm getting used to saying them. I think this is around the fifth time I've used the Fireside Chat app. And the first time I think I had 8 followers. The second time, I don't remember, a couple hundred. And now, and it's only been like maybe a month, but I've got about 1,500 followers. So when I was starting this chat tonight, I actually sent it out to those 1,500, as well as broadcasted it out to Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, I think is where I sent it. So why growing your family tree? And you'll see a book there. It's because I have a book self-published on Amazon that is Growing Your Family Tree. Growing Your Family Tree, Sorting the Wheat from the Chaff. And you can go to Amazon and search and find that. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, hey, if you want to buy the paperback, that's great. But I'm pretty sure that you can access that with just, like if you have a Kindle membership, you can access it for free on your Kindle reader, I think. And my other book on Amazon is From Irish Roots, which, among others, celebrates these Burrells that I've been talking about tonight. Because, like I said, George Howard Burrell was the first Canadian born of his siblings. The others, I believe, were all born in Ireland in the late 40s and early 50s. So they would have come out of the potato famine. And that's kind of, in a lighthearted sort of way, my book From Irish Roots, also on Amazon. That's kind of what it looks at. Some family, some about growing potatoes, some about the folklore of Ireland. And it is, I think, interesting. Just a lighthearted book, whereas my Growing Your Family Tree book actually gives you even more in-depth information about how to do your researching than these talks are able to in the time that we have. So I'll ask once more if there is anybody on Wisdom or on Fireside that would like to come up, ask questions. Let me help you get started doing your research or growing your family tree. Like I said, I honestly believe that your first best step is go to the website legacyfamilytree.com, download their free download standard edition, and get started with that, because it'll allow you to put your family names in something that you can easily keep track of. Then go talk to your family. Back that up by going to familysearch.org and searching the records and see if Find a Grave has anything for you, and also your Google searches. Beyond that, growingyourfamilytree.com is my family history genealogy website, and you're welcome to contact me through there. And if you're interested in what we're doing with Bryden Farm, our homesteading farm in Bear River, Nova Scotia, Canada, where we have goats, pigs, chickens, ducks, dogs, cats, and more. Regenerative farming, rotational pastures, upcycling, and so on. You can check that out on our website at brydenfarm.com. BRIDEN farm.com. So with that, I'm going to call it an evening. I thank you, Woody, for coming and sticking with me through this whole thing. Hopefully it's been helpful to you. And also over on the Wisdom app, who's either stopped by or is listening, Greg's Take, Truly Julie, Ellen Suttereth, Eternity, Smith James, Sarah, Sarita Isa, Brad, Modern Pilgrim, gotta like that, the Drew, Glasgow, and Gibby Gibb. And the reason I say you've gotta like that is we've been here at Bryden Farm described as pioneers and pilgrims, because we kind of do things the old-fashioned way. Kind of like Grandma Somebody, who hangs in a picture on my wall, and that old 1944 Watkins calendar that hangs beside her. The the calendar a gift, and the picture, I wish the people on Wisdom could see, but the picture is one that I obtained after she looked at me and smirked at me and for about a month at a market where I was selling Watkins products. And after a month, I walked over and I dropped $20 on the table and bought the picture, because somehow I just kind of have a heartfelt connection, possibly a family tie because of the area that the picture comes from. But I'm hoping that perhaps someday somebody's going to say, "What are you doing with a picture of?" and help me fill in the blank. Anyway, with that, I'm going to call it a day. Woody and everyone over on Wisdom, thank you for listening. Love you all. If I can be of any help or service, please let me know. Check out our website, growingyourfamilytree.com, or my books on Amazon. Thanks. Have a wonderful night. Ciao for now.